EDLM 525, Developing Leadership Capacity Through Reflective Practice, my e-portfolio. When I started this journey, I was excited, nervous, and scared all at the same time. During the residency time, everything was fresh, and I remember feeling, what did I get myself into? As the coursework continued and I became more comfortable with the program and my own abilities, the completion of this program became more attainable than I had thought previously. Through this course, EDLM 525, I was given the opportunity to pause between coursework and reflect on my own accomplishments and take a deep breath before starting the next chapter. Knowing ourselves. Through this program, I have learned a lot about myself and the type of person I am. The past 2 years have been the most challenging years of my life. This is partially due to this program, but mostly it has to do with what has happened in my personal life. On while I was on this educational journey. In these 2 years, my second daughter was born, who was a great blessing in our lives. Shortly after her birth, my husband was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and went through a very invasive surgery with only a 35% survival rate. I am happy to say he is healthy today, but the recovery process took a toll on all of us. Although was an extremely stressful time in my life, I found that I persevered through it and completed all of my coursework. I realized that I was extremely dedicated to completing this program, and I learned that once I put my mind to something, I was determined to complete it. The biggest hit to my personal life was on April 1st of this year. My father passed away suddenly. This was right around the same time when our first drafts for our MRP were due. Although it took me a few weeks to get back on my feet, I took the strength from remembering how excited my dad was to attend my graduation ceremony in November, as I was the first in our family to receive a master's degree. I got back up, dusted myself off, and continued to drive forward in completing this journey that I had started almost 2 years ago. Knowing ourselves as leaders. When reflecting on the type of leader I am, this unit really helped me to start to recognize the traits that make me a leader. Through the VARCS questionnaire, I was able to confirm my mild kinesthetic learning preference. I was also able to recognize that my scores were consistent throughout the other areas, making me a versatile learner and leader. Through some of our other coursework, I was able to determine how I work with other leaders. I was able to step back and analyze the different personalities in the group and adjust my role accordingly. I would also step into the leader role when needed, but allow other leaders in the group to take control as well. Through my experiences in the Education and Leadership Management program, I have been able to observe the education process in a different light. I have discovered which forms of learning best work for me and how diverse learners can work together and succeed. Furthermore, I have been able to reflect on my own teaching how my own teaching impacts students and their abilities to succeed not only in the classroom but also in life. It is important to provide them skills that will allow them to explore their creativity and learn independently. Knowing ourselves as educators. As educators, our responsibility is to lead students and expand their pool of knowledge. At the same time, it is also an educator's responsibility to continually learn and engage in professional development, so that educators are current with new teaching practices and evolving technologies. Through this portion of the Masters of Education Leadership and Management program, there was an emphasis on communication and the use of technology in multiple forms in the classroom. The experiences in this portion of the program have really shaped my view of education and my role as an educator. The circumstances in my professional, educational, and personal life have made a lasting impression on my perspective on multiple aspects of leadership in the education field. Taking the Teaching Perspective Inventory, TPI, was a great way to reflect on my individual teaching style and gave me the opportunity to reflect on my own teaching style. Before taking the test, I had time to reflect on what I believe my results would be. I've always had nurturing qualities that are reflected in my teaching style. I continuously push my students to achieve better for themselves, even if they have not been successful in the past. After taking the test, there were 3 perspectives that were highlighted above the others: nurturing, developmental, and apprenticeship. I would strongly agree with this test and its highlights. And it highlighted what was most important to me as an educator. As a person that loves to continuously learn and expand my knowledge, I believe that teachers must organize their material from the learner's perspective. Knowing ourselves as educational leaders. As we approached the final months in the master's program, I had the opportunity to reflect on the entire process thus far and reevaluate my personal leadership qualities and the leadership standards that impact me as an individual and as a leader. EDLM 580 revolved around the evolution of supervision and evaluation, two processes that are crucial in making an exceptional leader. Some of the leadership qualities that emerged for me as a leader in this course included the importance of reflection in personal and professional growth. Teachers can direct their energies towards professional growth, are more likely to be invested in the process of discovering meaningfulness in their work as they envision newly found and constructed knowledge. Furthermore, I recognize the importance of instructional dialogue. Supervision is the process of engaging teachers in instructional dialogue for the purpose of improving teaching and increasing student achievement. As a leader, it is very important to encourage self-reflection and instructional dialogue. It is equally important to encourage collaboration, teamwork, and observation to create meaningful relationships that allow for continuous communication. Through the collaboration of supervisors and teachers in a school environment, better results can be accomplished through an environment rich with dialogue, multiple forms of supervision, and autonomous relationships so teachers can negotiate their own learning based upon what makes sense to them. My major research project. So what I decided to focus on was reaching school improvement goals through teacher-principal collaboration. The role of principals in fostering student learning is an important facet of education policy discussions. Strong leadership is viewed as especially important for the revitalization of failing schools. Despite the importance of principal involvement, British Columbia principals face a number of hurdles in achieving their personal leadership goals for school improvement. According to the rationale of the British Columbia Principals and Vice Principals Association, successful leadership can play a significant role in improving student learning. Therefore, it is important to examine ways in which principals can create collaborative efforts in accomplishing school improvement goals. Although school improvement and student achievement is the main objective, the instructional leadership role of principals is softened by many policies and regulations set up by the individual school districts and the British Columbia Teachers Federation. Through the examination of the relationship between these policies and the compromised roles of leadership, it became apparent that most change needed to minimize the control of these parties was unrealistic. The magnitude of these challenges required extensive structural change in the education system of British Columbia. Although large change to the regulating bodies of BC education is impractical, it is especially important for principals to become familiarized and fluent in the rules and regulations that govern day-to-day interactions in the school environment. It is vital to focus on areas that can be directly impacted by administration and the teaching staff. Therefore, the research opportunity that I examined for my MRP was how can school improvement goals be accomplished through teacher-principal collaboration while mitigating potential hindrances caused by British Columbia policymakers. Moving forward, as I wrap up my journey in the Masters of Education Leadership and Management program, I reflect on the positive impact this program has had on me as an individual, as an educator, and as an educational leader. I have come a long way in many aspects of my life, and I look forward to taking what I have learned in this program and further applying it to my daily life, but more importantly, applying it to the field of education. Thank you for listening to my e-portfolio. Hope you enjoyed it, and good luck to everyone else that was in this program.